What's up, guys? Razio here. I know, again, it's been a while, but as you know, I don't make clickbait videos, just when I want to talk about stuff. So, I've been playing Dark Souls 3 recently a lot on Twitch. It was requested by my viewers that I do so, and I went in pretty apprehensive. But, man, Dark Souls 3 reminded me what's missing from MMORPGs. Now, you might say, but Raz, Dark Souls 3 is not an MMORPG. And you'd be right, it isn't. It's an RPG first and foremost, which is what's missing from MMORPGs. So let's just do the drop, and then I'll tell you my thoughts about it.
I am Razio.
So, here we are. And I know my YouTube channel has been a bit dry lately, not a whole lot of content being put out. And again, it's because I don't do clickbait videos. I only talk about things when I have something I really want to talk about. And this is something I really want to talk about. Now, to those who are unaware, I've been streaming a lot on Twitch lately. Link to my Twitch page is in the description. I've been streaming a lot more lately, several times a week. So feel free to drop by and say hi. But this video was inspired by, I've been playing some non-MMO games for a while. You know, the MMORPG industry is a bit stale, the genre is a bit stale, and it's been that way for a while, as I've said in many videos in the past. However, a bunch of people in my Discord that consistently watch my streams requested that I play Dark Souls 3. Now, my experience with the Dark Souls franchise is very limited. I played Demon Souls back on PS3 back in the day, didn't play Dark Souls 1 or 2, but I decided to give 3 a shot. And man, it opened my eyes to a lot of what's missing from the MMORPG genre. And like what you might say is, hey, Raz, Dark Souls is not an MMO. No, it is not. It's an RPG first and foremost with some multiplayer functionality, PvP, and invading other people's games and stuff like that. But its core RPG features are what is missing in the MMORPG genre, which used to be there in the MMOs of days long gone, such as games as like Asheron's Call, Dark Age of Camelot, you know, some of the EverQuest, some of the older games, for what MMOs originally were intended to be, RPGs with just a lot of other players out there. So what features am I talking about specifically? Well, gear first and foremost. Gear is super important in the game, but not the be-all, end-all. Your build is what shines through more than anything. Builds are a thing that were in old RPGs. They were the core staple of what made an RPG an RPG, i.e. stats. Stats on your gear, stats on your weapons, stats overall on your character that determine what weapons and gear you can even use in the first place. You can make builds that are pretty much break the game eventually. You can make builds that are really underwhelming and just don't work out very well. You can essentially nerf the shit out of your own character. Now, it is included in Dark Souls and in a lot of those games where you do a long, hard, gratuitous quest chain or something to respec if you made a bunch of mistakes, which I think is necessary. You shouldn't be held forever if you make a mistake and have to start over completely. But Dark Souls 3, I enjoyed the hell out of. Sure, I got really, really frustrated and I raged, as I'm sure many people expected, because it's so easy to die. It's a very high skill game to beat bosses and things like that. But man, the overall building of a character, the RPG elements of this world, not to mention the fact that the world itself is extremely dangerous, but also lends itself to the opportunity when you perfect your build or make your build better, you grind out and level when you get your ass kicked, then you go back later to that same place and you just completely push everything shit in because you got better both in skill and your character stat sheet improved dramatically. One of the biggest things that I've mentioned several times throughout these streams of Dark Souls 3 was it felt good to play because when I logged on and then when I logged off, the next time I'd log in again, I was stronger. You make progression at your pace. However much you play, you get stronger and stronger, enabling you to go to new areas and to overcome things that previously you were getting the shit kicked out of you in, essentially, which used to be in MMORPGs. The world should be the protagonist and the antagonist, not your character, which is a far cry from what we see in games today, like WoW, Final Fantasy 14, things like that, where you're the protagonist no matter what, you're the hero no matter what, and there's nothing that you can do about that. You're on rails, you're scripted all the way through. While in Dark Souls 3, you're still scripted because it's an RPG, but you're not necessarily on rails. You can go wherever the hell you want in this world, and as long as you can get there without dying and unlock the save points there. But it really made me think of back in the days of Asheron's Call, where you made a build on your character and you determined what weapons and stats and abilities that you actually had at that point. If you gimped your character like I did the first time I played Asheron's Call, where I specialized in sword and in cooking, because cooking was, I thought, back in my super nerd days, and I thought that being a good cook would be great when we went on, like, when we had to rest and do campfires and stuff like that, which isn't really how cooking was designed in the game, nor is it in any game. It just provides buffs and health and mana and stuff like that, which I didn't need when I was playing Asheron's Call. But anyway, I learned from that. And yeah, another great thing that I want to point out here is a lot of people call Dark Souls 3 like Fashion Souls because what you look like. Your skill in dodging and actually being reactive to what enemies are doing is more important than your actual armor. You don't want to get hit in Dark Souls 3. That's not a thing in MMOs, and I'm okay with that. I don't think it should be. But the simple fact that you could like, if there's a really good sword or a really good weapon of some kind, or a cool looking armor piece that you wanted, there were places to go that you could grind those out. And while you're grinding those weapons or things out, trying to get them to drop from the NPCs that drop them, you find yourself in a place where you're also still getting stronger because you're grinding it out. Unlike, transmog runs in and glamour runs in Final Fantasy 14 and WoW respectively, you're always progressing in this game. You're always making your character stronger, so that when you get invaded in PvP, you have a better chance of winning. Things like that. You're constantly getting more powerful, and it has no limits. As much as you're playing the game is how much you're going to continue to progress. While in games like modern MMOs, all the modern culprits here, that's not a thing. You're limited by week, by raid or dungeon lockouts. You can only do so much per week. Granted, that's become a slightly less of a thing in WoW, and that's just because of Mythic Plus. But even then, you're still limited to 3 items a week in your vault in Mythic Plus WoW of top level gear. You can only pick one, so you can only get one max piece of gear per week on even modern iteration of World of Warcraft. Where the developers have gotten this idea to restrict how strong you can become, where no one can get ahead no matter how much you play, you're still limited to 1 piece per week. Or if you do mythic raiding, how many mythic bosses there are per week, is really, really, I know it's a way to stretch out content longer than it's supposed to last and be viable. And this is the issue we run into with theme park MMOs. We've seen, the builds and stat sheets of traditional D&D style MMORPG design go away in favor of things like talent trees. You can shift as much as you want, shit like that. You can also, we're also seeing, it's gotten more homogenized, where stats altogether have been removed, like we saw in Final Fantasy 14, where it's just become very, very streamlined and homogenized around the industry. And I don't see any MMOs. Obviously, we don't have enough information about how class systems work in Ashes of Creation is coming out, because they claim to be the next big thing that's coming out that's back to traditional MMOs. But I'll believe it when I see it, type of thing. All RPGs used to do this, not just MMOs, including games like Diablo, Diablo 2. And then once again, we saw homogenization and just simple skill trees come in replace of stat sheets in Diablo 3 and as we move on. One of the games I will point out that has stuck to this model, and it's a reason why the game is so popular these days, is Path of Exile. Because Path of Exile sticks to the traditional D&D style MMO, or RPG, not MMO, but RPG character building idea, is why I think people love the game so much. And it's what we need to go back to. So TLDR, MMOs are missing building a character, having a dangerous world that's completely open, not having instanced bullshit is what's really, really missing, and what's causing me to shift away. Obviously, this is an MMO channel, and I'm always going to have a main MMO I'm playing, maybe two right now. It's still WoW and Final Fantasy 14. I bounce between. But I'm having a lot of fun in games like Dark Souls 3, where you can build a character and you can go through and face things, and as long as you play, you get stronger. And that's what MMOs used to be. Because again, a game like Dark Souls 3 is going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Eventually you beat the game and it's over. You can go back and do New Game Plus and things like that, but it's over. And it's obviously not massively multiplayer. Which, why companies went away from that, I think, is because they want the game to appeal to as many people as possible, so they make the most money as possible. They want every player, no matter what genre you're most interested in, be it FPS, ARPG, RPG, even fucking sports games, they want you to feel like you have a home there, which I think is bad. I've said it many times. If you make a game for everybody, you end up making a game for nobody. MMOs and the RPG genre specifically used to all be built this way, the way Dark Souls 3 is built, and it used to be for a very specific niche, a very specific audience. And MMOs have shifted to now where they think an MMO is not successful unless it has 3 or 4 million players at all times, at least 1 or 2 million. And back in the day, the best MMORPGs, in my opinion, Assurance Call, Dark Age, Camelot, EverQuest, Ultima Online, those types of games, design-wise, which were the best. Obviously, their graphics have aged, and some of those games are no longer even out. But those games only had 200, 300, 400, 500,000 players, and were huge successes, and can be successes. You don't need to be the next WoW, where you at your peak reach 14 million players to be successful. And once I think developers can get that idea out of their head, maybe we can start to see some innovation and a return to what works in MMORPGs. Anyway, guys, I just thought I'd give you my thoughts. Again, my Twitch link is in the description, and it's on the screen now. Come say hi. I always post on my YouTube channel and on my Discord when I am going live. Again, if you want to join my Discord, full of toxic masculinity and bullshit like that, is also in the description below. But I really want to know your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you want the return of things like this? Do you think there should be an MMO that is just like this for that niche audience? And then, I'm not saying, obviously it's far too late for games like WoW 14 to shift to a model like this, since they never were that. So I'm not asking or pining for change in the current MMOs that are out already. I'm pining for an MMO to come out that returns to this formula, because it's by far we have the most fun, you feel the most progress, and you feel like you can know life at the most, I guess. But anyway, guys, comment description down below. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. It really helps a lot. If you like the video, if not, thumbs down. I don't care. That's fine. It's your opinion, but go fuck yourself. And as always, my friends, keep it real.